presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
It's the Dodgers and the D-backs. Through the first 8 meetings, 7 have been Dodger wins. But the D-backs have won 8 of 13 since, and the tide may be ready to turn. The hot bats of Parra, Montero, Hill, and Pollock all in the lineup as Wade Miley faces L.A. for the 4th time this year. Dodgers and D-backs next on Fox Sports Arizona. The Heat is back in the Valley, and so are the Dodgers. Yasiel Puig and company are in town. It's Friday Night Baseball, brought to you by your helpful Valley Honda dealer. Everyone at Chase Field this weekend, from Elvis to bobbleheads to the big unit himself. And it all starts right now, the first of 3 against the boys in blue from Los Angeles. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brentley along the way. This is the D-backs and the Dodgers' first of a 3-game weekend set. It's Zach Greinke for L.A. and Wade Miley for Arizona. This is the 4th time already this year that Miley has faced the Dodgers. He hasn't beaten them yet, but Bob, why might that change here tonight?
Well, I think the Dodgers are going to see a little different Wade Miley tonight. We talk all the time about adjustments in the game of baseball, and Wade Miley felt like there was something wrong with his delivery. Sat down with Mike Harkey, the pitching coach. You can see he's pretty square to home plate right there. Shoulders are very wide on the mound, but now he's got his body turned a little farther to the left, kind of simulating the beginning of his delivery without actually doing the beginning of his delivery. It shortens everything up, makes it a little bit more compact, allows him to get his arm in a better throwing position. So hopefully a small adjustment by Wade Miley will give him a completely different look to these Dodgers.
And he'll be dealing with that power-packed L.A. offense. Adrian Gonzalez has been slumping as of late, a 1 for 27 earlier this month. But as we know, last time he was here, he did a lot of damage.
One of the best series we've seen by a visiting player here at Chase Field. 7 for 13 with 3 homers, drove in 10, scored 5. He was just on base every time at the plate and doing a lot of big damage. He had damage to contact ratio.
It should be a fun weekend here at Chase Field. A lot going on tonight. It is Elvis night at the ballpark, and lately we have been putting the D in D-backs. Cindy Brunson joins us next, talking some D-back defense. And first pitch coming up next. You're watching the Arizona Diamondbacks on Fox Sports Arizona. Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink.
Well, welcome back to Chase Field. Cindy Brunson with you as Wade Miley is looking to get his mind right and get a series opening win against the Los Angeles Dodgers here in mere moments away from first pitch. Today, 105 degrees in Phoenix. That is the hottest day of the year so far. And just like the temperatures outside, the defense behind every starting pitcher the D-backs have are heating up. In fact, the D-backs have only committed 4 errors in their last 11 games for a .990 fielding percentage. That's dating back to May 3rd. That's the 4th best in all of baseball. And it was a bright spot big time in the series against the Nationals, even though the Diamondbacks were able to win that series. And of course, defense will play a critical role against D. Gordon in this series. He leads all of Major League Baseball with 25 steals on the season. We've got a righty-lefty rematch for you. It is Wade Miley and Zach Greinke battling for a 3rd time this season. We've got first pitch for you. Bob Brindley, Steve Berthiaume, right here on Fox Sports Arizona.
Roof and panels open here on a hot Friday night, and it's about to get a whole lot hotter in here. The D-backs have won 8 of their last 13, 3 of their last 4 series, and ready to turn their luck around against these Dodgers after a 1-7 start versus the boys in blue to begin this year. This is the Dodgers lineup. It's our Tire Pro starting lineup for Don Mattingly tonight.
D. Gordon at the top, blazing speed, leading the majors in stolen bases. Yasiel Puig with a 14-game hitting streak. He's batting over 400 during that streak. Hanley Ramirez at shortstop. Adrian Gonzalez over at first base. It'll be Matt Kemp in center field tonight. Scott Van Slyke in left field. Juan Uribe at third base. A.J. Ellis recently off the disabled list with some knee issues. He'll be doing the catching tonight for right-hander Zach Greinke.
Well, Los Angeles has won 14 of its last 18 against the D-backs, including 7 of the 8 meetings this year. And they line up with Greinke and Kershaw and Herron this weekend at Chase Field. Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks is Wade Miley. His 10th start, and coming off a win over the White Sox in Chicago. That was last Saturday when he allowed just 4 hits over 7 innings.
Yeah, really good outing against the White Sox in that ball game. Had everything working well. We talked about the small adjustment he made in his delivery. We'll keep a close eye on that in the early going tonight.
And one of the keys, keep D. Gordon off the bases. He steps in to lead off this series. Gordon top 10 in the league in hitting at .318, way out ahead of everyone for the stolen base lead. He's already swiped 25 bags this year. Corner infielders in on the grass. There's strike one. We're underway. Dodgers and D-backs. In 15 games this month, Gordon has stolen 12 bases.
Well, there's an old truth in this game. You can't steal first. You retire him, he's got no chance to steal a base against you. Easier said than done, keeping D. Gordon off the bases.
Hot day in the Valley today. We're all open at Chase Field tonight. Misses there. 2 balls and a strike. 25. He's 10 ahead of Eric Young of the Mets for the league lead. He's only been caught 3 times. 11
ahead of Billy Hamilton, who tries to steal every time he gets on.
On the ground, right to Aaron Hill. So far, so good. One away. Gordon is kept off the base paths.
There's the Diamondbacks defense, brought to you by Mid-First Bank. It'll be Inciarte in left, Pollock in center, Parra over in right field, Martin Prado at third base, Chris Owings and Aaron Hill make up the double play combo. Paul Goldschmidt at first, with Miguel Montero behind the plate for lefty Wade Miley.
Yasiel Puig on fire right now, red hot. Top 10 in the league in hitting at .324. Top 10 with a .416 on base percentage, and 4th in the league in OPS. He is perfect in May. He has hit in every game this month. First pitch swinging, pops him up. Goldie in foul ground. 2 down.
Well, you got to love those one-pitch at bats, especially to a guy who's been swinging the hot bat for the Dodgers recently. 1 pitch, 1 out. Nothing to use for his next at bat. Got to love that.
2 up, 2 down. Here is El Nino, Hanley Ramirez. Hitting .252 with 5 homers. And the Hanley shift is on. There you see the left-hand side of your picture. 3 infielders for the Diamondbacks. Goldie's over there all by himself, almost halfway between first and second. One ball and 1 strike.
You know, it's interesting, the psychological effect of a shift. I mean, obviously this is not just something that the Diamondbacks do for fun and giggles. They do this for a reason. That's where Hanley Ramirez usually hits the ball on the ground. But if you can get an opposing hitter in his mind to be thinking, well, maybe I ought to try to shoot one to the right side, well, then that's half the battle. That's what you want Hanley Ramirez to do. Change his approach because of the shift defense.
That'll often create some weak contact, even if he does get the bat on the ball.
I mean, that would be a great goal to start the ball game. We want Hanley Ramirez to try to hit the ball to the right side of the field, and he accommodates you. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful, because that's going away from what makes Hanley a good hitter. What makes him a good hitter is getting the barrel on the ball and hitting it hard, usually to his pull field.
Look at that, left and center field, and that's where the Diamondbacks have shifted. Now Aaron Hill sneaking back over to the second base side of the bag. The 2-2. It's full.
Now the Diamondbacks charts would tell you with 2 strikes, Hanley Ramirez becomes a little bit more defensive, and he's more likely to hit a ball up the middle of the field. So Aaron Hill moves on that side of the bag, but still playing a pull shift.
Alan Trannell, the bench coach, directing the defense. Ball 4, a 2-out walk to Ramirez. And this brings up Adrian Gonzalez. Gonzalez hitting .263, 9 homers and 28 RBIs. However, that average for the season is down more than 50 points from where it was at the end of April. He has had a really hard May. It included a 1-for-27 skid earlier this month. He has it in 5 straight games, but the production has really tailed off lately. And look where Aaron Hill is playing second base. That's usually where he stands when there's a shift on. There is not, but Aaron is very deep in shallow right field. Hanley and Gonzalez struggling. Puig and Kemp hot. 2-0 to Gonzalez. 3 balls and no strikes. So 2 quick outs for Miley. Then he goes to 3 ball counts on Ramirez and Gonzalez. And Kemp is on deck.
You definitely want to go after Gonzalez here. I know that seems silly given what we showed you in the open of the show, what he did against the Diamondbacks last time here at Chase Field. But Matt Kemp's been a hot hitter. You got the lefty on righty matchup that Don Mattingly would be looking for. And Gonzalez has struggled against lefties this year, barely hitting over 200.
Gets the call and strike. It's full 3-2. Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief, is the plate umpire.
He gets himself back in the sequence with a borderline at best fastball there on the outside part.
3-2, 2 outs. Ramirez will be off from first with a pitch. Goldie playing behind the runner. There goes Ramirez, and there is ball 4. Back-to-back 2-out walks issued by Miley.
It's unusual to see Wade Miley walk 2 guys in a game, let alone back-to-back hitters in the first inning. Of course, with Gonzalez's numbers the last couple of years against the Diamondbacks, understandable that he was pitching him very carefully. 27 previous games against the D-backs over the last 2 years, 27 RBIs, 14 extra base hits, including 7 homers.
Wade has shown excellent command lately, just 2 walks over his previous 20 innings overall. And he's walked 2 in the first here. And it brings up Matt Kemp with 2 on and 2 out. Kemp 276 and 5 homers. Strike 1. Kemp really heating up now at the plate. He's done well career-wise against Miley. He comes into tonight's game having hit safely in 6 straight and 10 of his last 11. As we just showed you, batting well over 400 during his recent hit streak. In the air to right, should be playable for Parra. Wade Miley strands a pair of 2-out walks. We are underway. Dodgers and D-backs in downtown Phoenix. And those D-backs and Dodgers underway. First of 3 here this weekend between these NL West rivals. And Gerardo Parra looking to get things kick-started against Zach Greinke. Let's take a look at our Tire Pro starting lineup for the D-backs.
Gerardo Parra at the top playing right field. Martin Prado at third base batting second. Paul Goldschmidt in the 3 spot. Miguel Montero, great career numbers against Zach Greinke. Hopefully that'll continue here tonight. Aaron Hill at second base. A.J. Pollock in center field. Chris Owens at shortstop. Ender Inciarte in left field. And left-hander Wade Miley on the mound for the D-backs.
And for the Dodgers, our Arizona Ford starting pitcher is Zach Greinke. 6-1 in 8 starts, a 2.38 ERA.
Coming off a 6-2 victory over the Giants. The only game the Dodgers won in that 4-game series against the Giants. Went 7 innings, gave up 6 hits and 2 runs. A season high, rather. 112 pitches last time out.
Gerardo Parra leads it off. Martin Prado doing his usual on-deck antics. It is a very structured routine. Greinke misses inside. It's a ball and a strike. Parra 272. Well, it's hard to find a tougher customer than the man on the mound in blue right now. The last time Zach Greinke allowed more than 2 runs in a game was last July 25th against the Reds. Since then, he has not given up more than 2 runs in 20 straight starts. That is the longest such streak by anyone since the dead ball era. And oh, by the way, you get to face Kershaw and Herron over the weekend.
Greinke can attack you a lot of different ways. Tremendous command of that fastball on both sides of the plate. Has a good curveball, good straight changeup, and will throw an occasional slider if he thinks the situation calls for it.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Parra, good numbers career against Zach Greinke. In the air to left center. Scott Van Slyke, not the prettiest route ever, but he got there, 1 away. Time now for our mid-first bank defense for the Dodgers.
Scott Van Slyke can have some adventures out there in left field, but he's in the lineup for his bat against the lefty. Matt Kemp out in center field. Yasiel Puig in right. It'll be Juan Uribe and Hanley Ramirez on the left side. D. Gordon, Adrian Gonzalez with 3 gold gloves to his credit. A.J. Ellis behind the plate. Mentioned he's just back off the disabled list. And right-hander Zach Greinke on the mound for the Dodgers.
And with Wade Miley, the left-hander, on the mound for the D-backs. The 2 left-hand hitting outfielders sit for Don Mattingly. Carl Crawford on the right and Andre Ethier on the left. They both have the night off. Strike 1 to Martin Prado. Prado at 247 on the year. The on-base percentage has dropped below 290. And his slugging is barely hovering over 300. It's been tough going lately for Martin Prado. Right back up the box and into center. Prado's aboard. First base hit in the ball game goes to the Diamondbacks.
Picks on that Greinke curveball, left it up over the middle of the plate. Bit of hitting there by Martin Prado to stay back, keep his hands back, and just lined it up the middle, which isn't always a sure base hit because Greinke really fields his position well.
And on Elvis night, you get the Elvis photographs on the Jumbotron here at Chase Field. Paul Goldschmidt, 316 and 7 homers. Can't catch up to the first one from Greinke, 0-1. Goldie going through a bit of a skid right now. Most of the career numbers against Zach Greinke. He's in a 3-for-23 mini slump. He's gone without a hit in 4 of his last 6 games. That's a foul ball. Dan Bellino, the umpire at third, immediately signals foul. And Prado will go back to first. 0-2 on Goldie.
Nice look, sir.
You get the T-shirt, the Elvis sunglasses, complete with sideburns on Elvis night here at Chase Field. He's even out at the pool.
How about that? On a surfboard, no less.
All those Elvis Beach movies. Goldie strikes out, 2 down.
He didn't even know it was Elvis.
He just showed up, yeah.
Catcher number 26, Miguel Montero.
2 down now. Prado on first. Here is Miguel Montero. I think he's got the Elvis hair going on the scoreboard. That's a good look.
That's a real good look.
Now, I'll bet you're jealous. I bet you're sad you didn't have Elvis night when you were playing, so you could have one of those pictures.
I would love it just to have a picture with hair on your head. It's great.
Mickey at 286, 5 homers. He's hit safely in 5 straight games and 8 of his last 9. Sideburns a little droopy there. Looks like Deputy Dog. Remember Deputy Dog?
Sure.
Out of play 0-2. I don't know where that came from. Nice pull.
I'm thinking Deputy Dog. Yeah. He had a sidekick. Huh?
You're going to have to get someone up here to look at him. Greinke, a 1-out single to Prado. He struck out Goldie. Now he's 0-2 on Montero with 2 outs.
Droop along. I think that was the sidekick.
Are you making that up?
No,
all
no.
Right. Deputy Dog and Droop along.
Yeah.
Well spent time during rain delays, apparently, in the clubhouse. How about this? 12 pitches for Greinke, 11 strikes. Miggy able to lay off there. It's a ball and 2 strikes. There's Mike Bauer and Vanessa. Mike able to pull off the Elvis look actually fairly easily. And he's a major celebrity here tonight. It's the one game all year where the guys pay attention to Mike and not Vanessa.
All year.
The 1-2. Nice block by A.J. Ellis, just back from knee surgery. And it keeps Prado at first. Aaron Hill, the on-deck hitter, should Montero reach. Breaking ball is fouled away. And Miguel Montero now exactly 25 games in the cleanup spot this season. .315, getting on base at better than a .420 clip, slugging over .500. And that .300, .400, .500 slash line from the cleanup spot is really going to make a difference for any offense. 2-2. Chases one there. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Zach Greinke. We have played 1, no score at Chase Field.
Elvis fans.
local sports coverage you need. You'll get Jack McGruder's post-game analysis and clubhouse reaction. Profile Saturday starter Chase Anderson. Good story on there by Jack about Chase, who will be matched up with Clayton Kershaw here tomorrow. And Craig Morgan on the Cardinals draft pick, overreaching long odds to reach the NFL. All that and more, FoxSportsArizona.com. Wade Miley set to start the second. After 2 walks in the first, he was able to strand both base runners, but now he faces a man who's been a Miley nemesis. It's the right-hand hitting Scott Van Slyke.
You look up and down this Dodger roster, and it's just littered with all-stars, and the one guy that really scares you against Wade Miley is Scott Van Slyke.
255 on the season with 3 homers. 2 of those have come against the D-backs, including the one he hit off Miley in the opener at the Sydney Cricket Ground back on March 22nd. From the SCG, wind blown and out of there. The high-stepping Scott Van Slyke. April 18th. Very high to center. Should be room for Pollock. Well, that's a big one to check off the list.
Especially leading off an inning. Retire Scott Van Slyke. Work with Juan Uribe with the bases empty.
And Uribe starting a game for the first time in 8 days. He was among the Dodgers' leading hitters for the first 3 or 4 weeks. He's at .311. He was out with a mild hamstring strain. Did have a double in an at-bat in Wednesday's Dodger loss to the Marlins. It was his first game back. 0-1. Uribe felt something painful in his right hammy last Thursday while he was grounding into a double play ball at a loss to the Giants. Dodgers were careful to try and nurse him back so he didn't have to go on the DL. And that actually led to a funny LA Times headline. It said, "Seriously, is Juan Uribe the one Dodger who can't be replaced?" Because they really didn't have a plan at third base if Uribe went down for an extended period, and actually they still don't. A ball and 2 strikes now. Uribe is about 2 months shy of his 35th birthday, and there's no obvious minor league guy they can call up and just kind of hold down third while Uribe would be out. They've kind of ham and egged it here. For the last week, Justin Turner's played over there. They have Sean Figgins. But they depend on Uribe more than I think people realize. Shallow right, Hill going out, Pollard coming in. 2 down. And here's another Dodger just back from injury. This one more serious. It's the catcher A.J. Ellis. Activated from the DL just before their loss to the Marlins Wednesday. He got the start behind the plate, went 0 for 4. He missed 5 weeks after having his left knee scoped to repair a torn meniscus. The second time in 18 months that Ellis has had to have that left knee operated on. And they got by with Fedorovich, and they have Drew Butera, and they brought in Miguel Olivo. But this guy's a key for them, Bob.
He really is. Solid receiver behind the plate. He throws well. He blocks well. He knows this staff inside and out. Knows their strengths and weaknesses. Knows all the opposing hitters in the National League West and their strengths and weaknesses. You miss a guy like that for a lot more than just his bat.
2 balls and a strike. And the Dodgers don't feel like they'll have to restrict Ellis any more than usual coming off the knee surgery. And they feel like he's able to jump right back to his normal routine behind the plate. 2-2. He did play 2 minor league rehab games with AAA Albuquerque. Logged 8 innings on Sunday, 6 innings on Monday. Felt that his endurance was okay. No problems other than normal next day soreness. Ellis actually joked the only downside to his second knee surgery was that his speed as a base runner unfortunately stayed consistently bad. He's a pretty funny guy.
Also, the second knee surgery is a pretty good indicator that there will be a third knee surgery. possibly a 4th and 5th and 6th.
Until finally it's a new knee. Highly missed there. It's full 3-2.
We were talking about Tommy John surgery and overwhelming number of guys that have gone for Tommy John this year. And for catcher's knee surgery, it's just something you do at the end of the season. It's like taking a vacation to Hawaii.
He did not go, says Quinn Wolcott at first, so it's another 2-out walk issued by Miley. His 3rd walk in the ball game already for 1 2/3.
The thing, much like with the Tommy John surgery, it used to be, if you had Tommy John surgery or elbow surgery before it was called Tommy John surgery, your career was in danger. And if you did come back, it was probably going to be at least a year, maybe as long as 18 months or longer. Well, now they've got it down to the place where guys are coming back less than a year after having Tommy John surgery, and the same thing for that knee surgery. Go in there with an arthroscope and take out the affected area.
Now, how many did you have?
Oh, man, I had one. Just to tell you how far we've come, back in 1973, I had a torn meniscus in my left knee. I was on crutches for 6 weeks, and the rehab took 6 months.
Wow.
Now guys are getting it done, and 3-4 weeks later, they're back on the field for the same surgery I had back in 1973.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing Ellis just had.
Yeah.
5 weeks later, he's back here playing.
Well, they used to put a big zipper on the inside of your knee and open up the joint, and they had to get in there with utensils and snip and
bottle cap, opening up with a bottle cap.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it was quite a procedure, and the rehab took quite a long time. But nowadays, if you have a torn meniscus in your knee, you get it done, you might be back on the field in 3 weeks.
And then that led to how many more for you?
Oh man, I'd have to count.
Wow.
I had back-to-back years where I had both knees scoped on the same day.
Chopped to short, Chris Owings. They get the force on Ellis, and once again, Miley strands a walk. No score from Chase Field.
You don't know what to expect in any count because he's so good in every count, and then every pitch he made is plus. So trying to get a good pitch to hit and don't miss the opportunity.
Miguel Montero earlier talking about how tough of an opponent Zach Greinke is. Since joining Los Angeles, fellas, he's made 16 starts following a team loss, going 11 up, only 1 down with a 2.12 ERA in those games. The Dodgers are 14-2. Fellas, back to you.
The news gets even worse. He's actually, BB, lately shown increased velocities, throwing harder here. At the age of 30, he'll turn 31 in October. His last start Saturday against the Giants, he was in a bases-loaded jam. Came up with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Now, he hadn't seen 96 in a while. And he was regularly hitting 94 in his last start. After he's usually about 91, 93, somewhere in there. as Aaron Hill steps in. And Greinke said, I didn't even know I still got 96 in me. Base hit. Second hit for the Diamondbacks. Aaron Hill is single to left to lead off the second.
I think the really telling thing about the Miguel Montero comments, sometimes you can put a pitcher in a predictable count where you're pretty sure you're going to get a fastball, but you can't do that with Greinke. He's just as likely to throw you a straight changeup, a curveball. He has ultimate confidence in all of his pitches and his ability to throw them for strikes. So he's a guy that generally doesn't fall into any kind of a pattern at all where a hitter could get an advantage.
A.J. Pollock now at 280. And halfway to his home run total from all of last year. Seen a lot more pop lately in A.J.'s bats. After a tough start to the season. Not a huge sample size versus Zach Greinke.
Talk about that power from A.J. Pollock. Not only to his pull field, but to straightaway center, to the gap in right center. We saw him hit one in the RamTrucks.com pool the other day. Surprising power from a guy that appears to be slight of build. But when you get up close to A.J., he's put together pretty good.
Yeah, he's been stubborn with his approach up there, and it's worked out. He had a really slow start, hit under 200 for the first 2 weeks, but since then, he's been over 330, and he's stuck with that new approach. The results are showing. He's up there, he's taken some bigger swings, and yes, it's brought the strikeout rate up a little bit. We saw that certainly early in the year, but he stuck with it, and now the power is there. You're seeing more line drives and more deep fly balls. He's more aggressive up there, swings a little harder when he gets his pitch. Lays off there to get back even 2-2. And he's actually said he's noticed lately he's seeing fewer pitches to hit. A lot more pitches that are out of the strike zone. So the word is kind of getting out on A.J. Pollock. Be careful with this guy because he'll take you deep. Two balls and two strikes. Aaron Hill on first after a single, a lead off the second. No score here at Chase. Dodgers and D-backs. This is inside, and it's full 3-2.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
First 3-ball count of the game for Zach Greinke.
Perfect example right there. A 3-2 count early in the ball game. Runner on first base. A lot of hitters would look fastball on that full count pitch, figuring that Greinke doesn't want to risk a ball 4, possibly a big inning. Instead, he comes with a curveball on the 3-2 count. Any pitch in any count to any hitter.
How do you call pitches for a guy like that?
You kind of get an idea of when he wants to go off the script a little bit and maybe throw a breaking pitch 3-2 depending on the opposing hitter. And as the game progresses, you'll see what's working, and what's really sharp, what's not so sharp, and you call the game accordingly.
Long look into the dugout for A.J. Ellis. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Should be a pick to first. Pretty much universal. You see that thumb come out there, a little flip motion by A.J. Ellis. That's an indication he wants Greinke to pick over at first base. One wiggle. That's usually a 2-seam sinking fastball. Misses away.
First 2 have reached for the D-backs. In the second, a single and a walk.
Greinke was possibly overly concerned with Aaron Hill at first. The pickoff move. Of course, that came from the bench, and then tried to quick pitch A.J. Pollock there on the full count pitch and missed low and away with that fastball.
Chris Owings. The average down to 270 for Chris, the lowest it's been since he went through that little 0 for 11 skid about the middle of April. First pitch is a strike, 0-1. Chris's bat has slowed here in May. He's under 180 for the month. Hit .313 in April. He's got Aaron Hill on second, A.J. Pollock on first, and nobody out. Well, when you're a Dodger fan and you're from LA, you get there when you get there. D-backs fans giving him a wide berth. Let him come in, get comfortable, then we'll go in.
You got to let the Dodger fans in early because they're going to leave early.
Right.
If they want to see any baseball at all, you have to let them go in first.
Pops up the bunt attempt. Uribe catches it. And everyone is all right. Straddling that foul line. Hill and Pollock back to the bags.
Like Chris was trying to bunt for a base hit that time. Unfortunately, just popped it harmlessly in the air to that third base side.
One away, Ender Inciarte. Nice Elvis walk-up music throughout the ball game. Ender Inciarte, his 7th start of the season, just his 2nd start in left field. He's seen most of his time in center, filling in when A.J. Pollock was out with that groin injury. Told you, late arriving. That's all right. We'll wait for you.
Even that one Dodger fan on his phone was looking up going, oh man, these guys are going to sit behind me.
He's got to get in, get comfortable, get organized.
I can't believe these two clowns that just came in and sat behind me. That's our Daft Punk guy. We had them here earlier this season.
Inciarte 3 for 24 to begin his big league career. He went 1 for 4 with a single in his last start. That was here Monday against the Nationals. And he's got that thing where he kind of gets in that load position, sort of holds it there for a while. Mark Trumbo, of course, always points his bat out at the pitcher like Jim Thome. Inciarte kind of half holds it. 2-1 is chopped to first and spins foul right to the feet of Dave McKay.
Well, we should point out this Dodger ball club has had some issues catching and throwing the baseball this year. You see Inciarte spin that one down the first baseline into foul territory. Only the Cleveland Indians have made more errors in the major leagues with 38 than the Dodgers, 36. We're told Hanley Ramirez is going through a real fielding slump out there at shortstop.
Yeah, if you look at some of the defensive metrics, that is the worst shortstop in baseball right now defensively, Hanley Ramirez. They're booting some balls out there. Their bullpens had a rough go as of late too. A little overworked and underperforming a bit. 2-2 to Inciarte. That one is rolled to second. Gordon, Ramirez, and they turn 2. Diamondbacks get the first 2 aboard, but they can't convert, and we are scoreless through 2. CenturyLink, your link to what's next coming up. We'll talk to CenturyLink's VP, Ken McMahon. He joins us when we come back.
Right center field as we are heading to the top of the third inning between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks in a scoreless game so far. And you can tell in this section 143 it is easy being green, and that's because of the man that I am standing alongside. He's Ken McMahon. He is the Vice President and General Manager of CenturyLink, the area here in Phoenix. What's behind all of this green?
Well, a couple of things. One, tonight, CenturyLink's going gonzo for kids. And we announced tonight that the Arizona Diamondbacks, CenturyLink, and Luis Gonzalez will recognize top nonprofit community organizations this year during the months of May through September. And every month we recognize one organization and we award them with a check for $4,000.
That is amazing paper. Everybody here is in green. It's a CenturyLink Employee Appreciation Night as well. What's the impetus behind having an event like this?
Well, one is we want to recognize our employees who do a great job in serving our customers day in and day out. So we've got 200 customers here, and we also want to demonstrate our support of the Arizona Diamondbacks, going gonzo for kids, and to have a great time.
And what can the viewers at home do to help?
Viewers can go to dbacks.com/goinggonzo. They can read about the program, and they can nominate an organization right there.
Tremendous. Ken McMahon doing good work as always. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Fellas, back to you.
Thank you, guys. Nice job by our friends at CenturyLink to get involved in the community like that. 2-2 on D. Gordon to open up the third. It's Gordon, Puig, Ramirez, top of the Dodger order against Wade Miley, who so far has walked 3, but has yet to allow a base hit. Yankee fan in the house. Elvis t-shirts everywhere. Well, this is the part of the order you really got to be careful with. D. Gordon batting from the leadoff spot right ahead of Puig, and Miley take care of business with his first strikeout. Little TCB right there on Elvis night.
Yeah, and since it is Elvis night, our Valley Honda keys to the game: return to sender. Any of those fastballs up over the plate or curveballs that happen to hang from Zach Greinke, well, return them to the sender. And the blue suede shoes we just retired. Keep D. Gordon in his blue suede shoes off the bases tonight.
25 stolen bases to lead the major leagues, but he is 0 for 2. Now that's a great look. Here is Yasiel Puig. Takes the first pitch this time. Yasiel Puig is starting to get it. He is progressing as a major league player, like it or not. He used to be compared to Bo Jackson based on simple physical size, strength, speed, athleticism. But now the player that Puig is most often compared to is Mike Trout. Big right-hand hitters, fast, athletic, power.
Pretty much the same physical skill set. Although Puig still leading the National League in neon jewelry.
2-1. Well, Puig is becoming a little more of a complete hitter. He's not getting beat in the strike zone. He's been more patient and selective up there at the plate. And has cut down on those wild hacks we saw when he first came up last year. See, there's a case in point right there. Takes a strike, 2-2. I mean, he is red hot right now, riding a 14-game hitting streak. He's hit in every game this month. And he drives that one, well hit and gone. Yasiel Puig, his 8th home run. It's 1-0 LA. The opposite field power of Yasiel Puig from Cienfuegos, Cuba.
Where can we get some of that neon jewelry? Well, that's just a middle cut fastball from Wade Miley. Puig brings his hands in, drives that ball to the opposite field with authority.
Eighth of the year for Puig, and now here's Hanley. So he's now hit in 15 straight. And he's now got 7 consecutive games with at least 1 extra base hit and an RBI. So he has tied Pedro Guerrero for the longest such streak by a Dodger since 1958. He's hit in 15 straight, 7 straight with at least 1 extra base hit and an RBI for Yasiel Puig. One and one to Ramirez. And once again, the Hanley shift is on. The shift for the right-hand hitter being employed by the D-backs with the 3 infielders on the left-hand side of the infield. Ramirez walked his first time up. Down the line, but slicing foul.
The ball went down the right field line. The bat went down the left field line.
Well, he uses all fields. Lorenzo Bundy, the third base coach, will take care of that. This guy is becoming a more complete player. He just is. Got to acknowledge it. He's done what they've asked him to do.
In a weird kind of way, it's not nearly as much fun.
You're right. Because you never knew what you were going to see.
Yeah, when he was a wild horse.
This is out into right. Parra tracks it down. 2 gold gloves and 2 outs in the third. Yeah, watching Puig last year was like a Game of Thrones. You never knew who was going to go down next.
He might catch a fly ball in right field and throw it up in the stands on the third base side. Might swing at a strike 3 in the dirt and end up at second base with a strikeout double. You never knew what he was going to do.
He might be due up and instead signing autographs down the right field line like we saw the first time he was here. Adrian Gonzalez with 2 outs. We'll see if Miley can put that mistake behind him. And here's Gonzalez. We talked earlier about the hot bats in this lineup and the cold ones as well. Puig's on fire right now. And Gonzalez has struggled. He's got only 1 extra base hit in his last 12 games. Bouncer to short. Chris Owings. High throw. Goldie gets the foot down, and that's the inning. But the Dodgers get 1. Yasiel Puig, his 8th of the year, a solo shot makes it 1-0, and here's the souvenir. Tomorrow, and get this, Arno Parra bobblehead, courtesy of St. Joseph's Hospital and Medical Center, and get the most bang for your buck with a D-backs value pack, which includes a bleacher ticket, a hot dog or a Subway sandwich, a regular Pepsi, a free cookie, all for only $21. For more information, visit dbacks.com/value. Gerardo Parra bobblehead day. This is our bobblehead up in the booth right here. There you go. Making a diving catch. And there is Gerardo Parra on deck as Miley leads off the third against Zach Greinke. The Parra bobblehead has had a nice run lately. A lot of wins. It's been one of the winningest bobbleheads we can recall, and probably since the Wade Miley Garden. Yeah, Elvis. It's got young Elvis going up there for Miley. Shot back to the mound. What are the name of some of those Elvis beach movies he did? Did he do a movie with a net? I know that was a net and the other guy.
Right field.
Who was the guy? Frankie Avalon.
Frankie Avalon.
Yeah, but Elvis had he had a few beach movies there too, didn't he?
Well, obviously we've got him out there surfing in the Ramtrucks.com pool. Yeah, Blue Hawaii.
Gerardo Parra flied out his first time. Parra 0 for 4 in the second game of the series against the Nationals. That snapped a 10-game hit streak, but he started a new one with 2 hits in Wednesday's game. Gerardo Parra bobblehead day tomorrow. Tickets at dbacks.com. Some of the CenturyLink employees and customers here in the house with us. Big crowd at Chase Field. Roof and panels open. D-backs and Dodgers all weekend. Elvis night tonight. Gerardo Parra bobblehead day tomorrow. And Randy Johnson will be here in person to throw out the first pitch on Sunday, the anniversary of his perfect game. 2 balls and a strike. In the center. One out hit for Parra. D-backs now with 3 hits, Bob, against Greinke.
We heard Miggy talk earlier about how you have to be ready to take advantage of Greinke mistakes. That time another curveball that just hung up over the middle of the plate about belt high, and Parra with a nice job of hitting. Takes it right back up the middle of the field. Just like Martin Prado did back in that first inning on a hanging curveball.
And here is Prado. Parra aboard at first with 1 out. Prado still looking for his first home run this year. He was going through a little bit of a power outage this season. Just 8 extra base hits all year. And the longest it had ever taken Martin to get his first home run in a season was April 19th. That was 5 years ago, but he's nearly a month past that right now.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every D-backs win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Beautiful night in the valley. Pizza's great. I mean, you can't go wrong with Papa John's anytime, but it's Elvis night. Maybe how about a little peanut butter and banana sandwich? Just in the spirit of things. I mean, they're on sale actually tonight here at Chase Field at the concession stand. You can get a peanut butter and banana sandwich, which of course was Elvis's favorite snack.
Well, Elvis obviously never played in the minor leagues because you get sick of eating peanut butter in the minor leagues. So I'm more of a meat and potatoes, meat and pizza kind of a guy. Let's put it that way.
Elvis would never be in the minor leagues, first of all.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, Elvis is big league. But I just feel like we should kind of embrace the theme and have a peanut butter and banana sandwich from the concession stand here. And maybe we can get Dennis Lamb to run down there and check it out. 2-1 to Prado. Skied into shallow center. Here comes Kemp. Now, Dennis, can you get us the hookup? Dennis Lamb here in the booth, our reliable staff member. All right, Dennis is on board. So he's going to, now, this is no joke. They're selling these here tonight. So Dennis is going to go get a couple of peanut butter and banana sandwiches. They are sold tonight at the Chase Field Red Hot Grill locations in recognition of Elvis Night. And that's part of the package you got. The T-shirt, the sunglasses, complete with sideburns. No Dodger hat. That is not a giveaway. That's right. See, typical Dodger people. They jump in. Can't get enough camera time. Goldie fouls that one back. Have you ever had a peanut butter and banana? I know you ate a lot of peanut butter in the minors, but was it a legit Elvis peanut butter and banana sandwich?
Sure, yeah. I like nice combo, peanut butter and bananas.
All the Red Hot Grill locations at Chase Field tonight. Selling Elvis's favorite. Actually, he used to have bacon on that sometimes. You'd have the peanut butter, banana, and bacon.
Yeah.
That's next level. Paul Goldschmidt down 0-2. There are the Red Hot Grill locations, one of them anyway, here at the ballpark. Gerardo Parra at first, 2 down. That one gets away from Ellis. Parra advances, and he'll get in there.
We had that great soundbite from Miguel Montero about facing Zach Greinke. You have to be able to take advantage of mistakes. There's a hanging curveball to Martin Prado back in the first. He took advantage. Fastball belt high, middle of the plate. Aaron Hill roped it into left field, and then Gerardo Parra picking on a hanging curveball of his own. Unfortunately, no damage done. Nobody on base to drive in, and nobody to drive them in once they got on. Make another mistake.
Spikes another one, and it's 2-2. Baxter embracing the Elvis spirit tonight. Looks like he could perform at Caesars like that. Dumping popcorn on the heads of Dodger fans. 2-2. Goldie lays off, and it's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And this is where Paul has not been quite the same hitter he was last year. Miguel Montero on deck. Last year in 3-2 counts, Goldie hit .329. This year, .192. And he strikes out for the second time tonight. We are through 3. It's 1-0 Los Angeles.
Diamondbacks.
if you or someone you know would love to be calling the game and they're between the ages of 10 and 14, then come out Sunday to Chase Field for the Fox Sports Arizona and Sanderson Ford Kidcaster auditions from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Those are held here at the Sandlot during the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers game. What happened to Dennis Lamb, by the way?
I'm not quite sure. Dennis is normally very efficient, very quick.
If I don't get a peanut butter and banana sandwich, it's going to be Heartbreak Hotel.
Ooh.
Matt Kemp leads off the fourth. Dodgers lead at 1-0. Yasiel Puig, a solo shot, his 8th of the year.
Don't be cruel.
Ooh. Right to Chris Owings. It's short. Diamondbacks had the shift on as well. 3 infielders on the left-hand side of the field, and it worked out.
Left fielder Scott Van Slyke.
Into the teeth of that shift, that ball easily gets through into left field if Chris Owings is at a normal shortstop position, but with several steps over toward that hole and right in the right spot.
Scott Van Slyke. Flying out to center his first time. There's the strike, 0-1. Wade Miley has struggled with Van Slyke, coming in 2 doubles, 2 homers, and 6 at-bats against him this year. In fact, Van Slyke has 12 career homers. 3 of them are off Wade Miley.
Well, we showed you the 1 home run from Sidney that just snuck inside the foul pole down the right field line as the wind pushed it out into the corner. One of the doubles was the line drive he hit off the wall in left field in Sidney that Mark Trumbo misplayed. I mean, Van Slyke's been getting some good swings at Wade Miley, but a couple of those hits could have gone the other way.
2 balls and a strike. That is by Prado at third, and it rolls down the left field line. Inciarte quickly over to cut it off. He's got a big arm, but Van Slyke is in there with his 5th double. The Miley nemesis, Scott Van Slyke.
Third baseman Juan Uribe.
28 extra base hits in his 53 career hits. Talk about efficiency. Yeah, we just saw with Inciarte, who, as you mentioned, has a big arm out there in left field. And we saw it happen a lot earlier in the season, especially from Gerardo Parra in right. The throws back to the infield, tough short hops for infielders or catchers to handle. Those guys with the big arms especially, they really have to pick a spot that's well short of their target if they're going to throw a 1-hop throw. It really does no good to air it out and put it right at the ankles of the guy you're throwing it to. It makes it tough for the second baseman to handle that ball at second base or the catcher to handle it at home plate.
Juan Uribe. He flied out his first time. Pops it up to left, Inciarte. 2 down. Well, Dennis Lamb has made it back safely from one of our Red Hot Grill locations here at Chase Field. Now this is the peanut butter. Wow, that looks good. Some bacon in there for you, baby.
Some bacon, toasted bread. All right, I'm on board. Here we go.
What do we got? That is the Elvis Night peanut butter.
That's the last time you're going to see it looking like that.
The peanut butter, banana, and bacon sandwich from the Red Hot Grill locations here at Chase Field. That looks good. No question, it looks good. Is that going to tide you over for the game?
Well, that'll hold me over until it's time for some real food.
A.J. Ellis. Real food. Not like he broke his bat. It's over the head of Hill and into right center. And Slyke comes in, 2-0 LA. RBI for A.J. Ellis. That's his first of the year.
Pitcher Zach Greinke.
Well, there's a group of fans out there right now, I'm sure, saying, why didn't you walk the number 8 hitter to get the pitcher up to the plate with a runner in scoring position? But as we mentioned, A.J. Ellis recently off the disabled list, taking a chance that Wade Miley might be able to take advantage of a guy who isn't in full rhythm again with the game. But that time Ellis breaks his bat, hits a little floater over Aaron Hill's head for an RBI hit.
Zach Greinke. Well, Miley facing these guys for the 4th time already this year. Now it's 67 pitches, 39 for strikes. So far 0-2 versus LA. The ERA is over 5. And the biggest issue had been the walks. 10 walks in 16 innings pitched versus the Dodgers, and he's walked 3 already tonight. He's ahead of Greinke, 1-2. Despite his difficulties with the Dodgers, Miley coming in, a lot of reason for optimism. He pitched very well in his last 2 starts, going 7 innings each time, and giving up a total of just 10 hits. His last time out, he won for the first time in more than a month. Greinke drives that to the gap, and it gets down in right center. We'll see if Ellis has enough to score from first. Lorenzo Bundy will wave it in. There is no throw. It's 3-0 Dodgers. Zach Greinke with an RBI double. Well, that new knee got the catcher home all the way from first, and it's 3-0.
Really should be no surprise for Zach Greinke. This guy can swing the bat. Silver Slugger Award winner last year, hit .328, had an on-base percentage over .400 last year. You see A.J. Ellis chugging all the way around from first base to score with the slide on that double into the gap in right center.
That's only the 2nd hit allowed to the opposing pitcher this season by Wade Miley as Mike Harkey finishes up his visit out there. And here comes the top of the order, D. Gordon, with 2 runs in the inning.
Gordon.
Poor guy got a new knee, and they're making fun of the way he runs.
How many runs have you scored tonight? That's all A.J. Ellis has to say to him.
He's done. He's had enough. D. Gordon 0 for 2. Goldie and Prado in on the grass at the corners.
The threat of bunt is a big part of D. Gordon's arsenal. Whether he attempts to put down a bunt or not in this game, corner infielders have to respect that speed and take the bunt away.
1-2.
Which then makes you susceptible if he tries to slap the ball by Prado at third or hook the ball by Goldie down there at first base. Now with 2 strikes, everybody will back up into a normal defensive position, but up until 2 strikes, you have to be ready in case he bunts.
Van Slyke doubled, Ellis singled, Greinke doubled. 2 runs in, it's 3-0. Goes down and gets that one and drops it in front of Enciarte. Greinke is in at third, Gordon's aboard. And here comes Puig.
Right fielder, Yasiel Puig.
4 hits in the inning for the Dodgers. And here's Puig, who homered his last time up. Location.
Yeah, middle of the plate fastball. Chose to hit it the opposite way. That one came back and eventually ended up in the hands of a young Dodger fan.
Now here's the dilemma for Miley. You got to remember it's Gordon over there at first here with 25 stolen bases, 10 more than anyone else in the league. But he's got to focus his attention on this guy, who has now hit in 15 straight games, including 5 homers. Gordon, 25 steals. He's been caught only 3 times. There's a strike, 0-1.
Normally, I would expect D. Gordon to run early in the count here. First or second pitch. Try to get himself into scoring position as quickly as possible for Yasiel Puig.
One and one.
Wade Miley just doesn't allow hitters to get much of a jump over there at first base. Even if they go on first movement, he unloads the ball so quickly to home, it's going to give Miguel Montero a good opportunity to throw him out.
Randall Delgado warming in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Take a look at Gordon's hands. We've seen Gerardo Parra with his oven mitt. Gordon has the double mitts. Can't injure a finger running the bases that way. Roll to short. Owens flips to Hill for the force on Gordon, and that's the inning. But the Dodgers get 2. They take a 3-0 lead. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Miguel Montero leads off the 4th for the D-backs.
D-backs special event night is Beach Night.
Part by Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. Back at Chase Field, D-backs trail the Dodgers 3-0 set for the home half of the 4th inning. And fans, it's that time again. Tweet us your fan photo using the hashtag AZFanPhoto for your chance to have your picture shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. The friendly committee wants it to... Oh, I see you polished off that peanut butter, banana, and bacon sandwich already, so now you can turn your attention to our fan photos.
Just an appetizer.
I can bring you something else if you're in the mood for anything else.
I told you, I'm more of a burger pizza kind of a guy. If you got a banana peanut butter pizza, I'll go for that. Otherwise, a big juicy burger.
I think I got just what you need.
Oh, really?
With Randy Johnson coming in here on Sunday to throw out the first pitch and celebrate the 10-year anniversary of his perfect game. I'm going to get you the perfect burger, my friend.
The perfect burger.
Perfect. Miguel Montero looks at strike 1. Miggy struck out his first time.
I've had many imperfect burgers. I'm looking forward to the perfect burger.
Well, it's called the perfect burger, and because, one, it's only available on Sunday, which is the anniversary of the perfect game. Pitch number 50 from Greinke on the way. So if you still got room, I can have our reliable booth member Dennis Lamb up there with Scott Geyer listening in.
Dennis just got back.
Well, this is how he's able to eat all that food. We keep him running around. We can go get you a perfect burger.
All right, I'm all for it.
Dennis, would you mind? It's thumbs up over there. Montero strikes out, 1 away. 4 strikeouts now for Greinke. All right, Dennis is on his way. We're going to get you the perfect burger. Now, we have to cook this up special because it's only available on on Sunday at the Game 7 Grill right outside the ballpark in celebration of the Big Unit's perfect game anniversary. So we're going to cook one up special. This is kind of like a warm-up for Sunday.
A better way to make a day of it. You stop by the Game 7 Grill on your way in, grab a burger, or on your way out and grab a burger. The perfect burger.
Only Sunday at the Game 7 Grill. Aaron Hill singled his first time up. Aaron, a very productive bat in the series against Washington. He had 3 hits Monday, 2 hits on Wednesday, including his 4th home run. And he's 1 for 1 tonight. Having a good May. He's hitting over 320 this month. That's more than a 70-point jump over his batting average for April. 2 balls and a strike.
There's a description that advanced scouts have occasionally for a hitter. They used to say it about Carlos Baerga. He can pull a bullet. I think Aaron Hill fits that description. You can't throw it too hard for Aaron Hill not to be able to turn it around.
You can see the increase in production this month versus last month for Aaron, who's ahead now 3-1. Broke his bat, rolls it to third. Uribe on throw, 2-1. Brings up A.J. Pollock, who walked his first time.
Center fielder, A.J. Pollock.
Roof and panels open after a hot day in the valley. There's some of those aggressive swings we talked about during AJ's first at bat. He's up there taking his hacks. And yeah, the strikeouts are going to go up a little bit, but you're going to get more line drives, more deep fly balls. He has tried this approach. He has stuck with it after a rough start, and it's paid off. 0-2.
Over his last 16 games, he's 17 for 50, slugging over 660. He's had 8 extra base hits, including 3 homers. And, oh, by the way, he's also stolen 5 bases in his last 16 games.
He's had a big month of May, hitting .345. Frankie misses there. A ball and 2 strikes. Dodgers starting pitchers 6-0 against the Diamondbacks this season with a 1.50 ERA. There's a little pop in AJ's bat we talked about. This was Monday against the Nationals' Jordan Zimmerman, opposite field power.
Oh, this one was impressive. I mean, not only opposite field, it was off the back wall of the blue area out there in right center field.
Already halfway to his home run total from all of last year. And he strikes out to end the 4th. D-backs trail it 3-0. Diamondbacks.com pool area here at Chase Field. So far, the D-backs looking for some offense, trailing the Dodgers 3-0. Let's go downstairs to Cindy Brunson.
Thanks so much, Steve. Appreciate it. I'm so pleased to be standing alongside the vice president for both the Phoenix Mercury and the Phoenix Suns, and a broadcaster for both. How many hats do you wear, by the way? She is Hall of Famer Ann Myers-Drysdale. Thanks so much for joining us. It is season tip-off eve here tonight as the Mercury start season number 18 in the WNBA. What can fans expect from this team?
Well, a lot of excitement, a chance to win a WNBA championship. I think we're as talented this year as we ever have been. Diana Taurasi and Penny Taylor are back and healthy. And Brittany Griner's got a year under her belt. And Dwana Bonner, Candice Dupree, we've got Erin Phillips and Misty Bass coming in, new players. And it's going to be pretty exciting.
Now, a lot of talk around the league says that Griner should make big improvements in year 3 like a lot of WNBA players do, but this team needs her to step up now. What improvements have you seen from year 1 to year 2 out of Griner so far?
Well, just her confidence. You know, she was injured last year, and I think coming in as a rookie and the expectations, she was pulled in every direction. And so there's a lot more focus for her playing the game of basketball. She's worked on her footwork, and she's got more shots. So certainly more improvement has to be made, but she's really excited and focused to be playing.
And she threw out a mean first pitch here at Chase Field a few days ago. Can't talk about the Mercury without talking about Diana Taurasi. She enters year 11. What do you expect out of your All-Star?
Well, only the best. I mean, she's an MVP. She's an Olympian. She's an All-Star. She just raises everybody's level. Certainly there's some other great players in this league, but everybody comes to see Diana Taurasi, and there's something special about her because she just plays the game with such passion.
For those who haven't seen #Summer Hoops and experienced the WNBA, especially with the Mercury, and what are they missing?
Well, certainly a great, honestly, a great event to come to. It's fun to come indoors, and Diamondbacks getting it out, which is great. But you know, it's great entertainment. It's a chance to bring family and not only children, but all kinds of groups that come in and watch. If you haven't experienced it, it's a different level, but it's a high level of competition. And the women play just as hard as the men. They have just as much compassion, and their skill is a lot of fun to watch. And a lot of high school coaches and college coaches for the men and boys will bring their teams to watch them play because that's the level they're playing.
That is tremendous. I have my season tickets, and I cannot wait to see the Mercury play this summer. Tomorrow night, the season opens against the Seattle Storm. Ann Myers-Drysdale, thanks for joining us. Fellas, back to you.
Thanks, guys. Should be an exciting season for the Mercury. One of the great ways to spend your sports ticket dollar here in the Valley. Get behind some Phoenix Mercury basketball, and Adrian Gonzalez swings and misses it. How about that strike by, or that stop here by Chris Owings, Bob?
Yeah, playing in the hole, trying to take that away from the pull hitting Hanley Ramirez. Has to go up the middle this time to make the play. Good body control to spin her out and fire a strike to Goldie for the out.
1-2 on Gonzalez. Roll to Aaron Hill, who's well out there in right field. He really had to come in a long way to get to that one, as it was slowly hit, but that's the second out here in the 5th.
Well, Aaron Hill can afford to play deep with Adrian Gonzalez at the plate. He just does not run well at all. And even on this slow roller to the right side, Gonzalez smelling base hit, but Aaron Hill closes ground and tosses on to Goldie for the second easy out in the inning.
Brings up Matt Kemp, who's 0 for 2. Kemp scuffed his way through a tough April, coming off all the offseason surgeries and rehabbing. He's at 272 now. His average for the season had dipped to 205 earlier this month, but he has looked much more like his old self lately, and since May the 3rd is hitting well over 400. In fact, Don Mattingly said last week that Matt Kemp is now officially the everyday center fielder. He drives that one to the corner and right, and it squirts foul. Mattingly told all the LA media, of course they've talked about that crowded outfield, 4 guys for 3 spots and all that, but Mattingly said, look, Kemp is going to be in center and Puig is going to be in right. Those guys are going to start every day, and Crawford and Ethier will play when they can, and Van Slyke in that mix as well. And Mattingly said, look, it's a situation. Somebody's not in there. They're not happy, but it is not going to be a daily conversation. He's made his decision, and they're moving forward. So it's not a day-to-day, who's out there today, Don, kind of a thing. That's got to get annoying for the manager when you've got one of those situations that just sits there for a half a season or lingers.
Or you go off to script for one day. You decide to start Crawford against a lefty today just because I think it's a good matchup for him, and then you've got to explain it for 45 minutes pregame and 15 minutes postgame whether it works or not.
That's the daily conversation.
Yeah. Who's going to play tomorrow? Well, we just got done with today. I'll let you know tomorrow, okay?
Sounds like a fun job.
Well, and you mentioned Van Slyke. I don't know whether he does anything against the rest of the National League, but he's played well against the Diamondbacks, come up with some big hits for him. He's in the mix.
Called strike 3 on Kemp. That ends the 5th. D-backs trail it 3-zip.
And your D-backs are now on 98.7 FM.
Chase Field, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up at one of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Bottom 5, D-backs have an out hit so far, 5-3. They trail it 3-0. He brought a Dodger fan. That poor kid has no idea. Chris Owings leads it off against Zach Greinke, who was retired the last 5 he's faced. Owings, Inciarte, and Miley in the Arizona 5th. I'm told that our esteemed colleague Dennis Lamb has made it back with your perfect burger.
Oh, nice.
Oh, here's Dennis right now, as a matter of fact. I'm going to show it to you right after this pitch.
A big league burger.
Dennis,
right
hold on. Don't go anywhere. So that's it.
That didn't want to get his hand bitten.
The perfect burger available at the Game 7 Grill only on Sunday. Look at that thing. That looks good.
Double patty, cheese, toasted bun. You kidding me? It is perfect.
Uribe in on the grass at third. You got 1 pound of beef right there, double stacked, spicy barbecue, cheddar cheese. Game 7 Grill, the perfect burger, available only Sunday right outside the ballpark. In celebration of Randy Johnson's perfect game anniversary.
Left fielder.
That really does look good.
Inciarte.
And don't you know?
Now on Sunday, as we celebrate the anniversary of Randy Johnson's perfect game, as Ender Inciarte comes in. A lot will be going on at the Game 7 Grill. You can go get a perfect burger. We'll also have Robbie Hammock, Mike Hampton, Shea Hillenbrand on the Game 7 Grill stage. And they're going to talk about the perfect game, what it was like. And that's free for all fans. And that starts 20 minutes after the last pitch. This is after the ball game now. And post-game specials at the Game 7 Grill right outside Chase Field. Every game you get $3 draft domestic beers, $3 well cocktails, half price on select appetizers. And only Sunday, the perfect burger. And it'll be good to go listen to Robbie Hammock and Mike Hampton and Shea Hillenbrand at the Game 7 Grill stage talking about Randy Johnson's perfecto. You've talked about it all week.
Oh, yeah. Mike Hampton came the closest of any Braves hitter of getting a base hit in that game. That little chopper over the mound. Alex Cintron had to come in and make a nice running play, scoop and throw all in one motion. Mike Hampton was a great athlete. I was a little concerned he might leg that out.
Inciarte, very slow roller to Gordon. And that's 7 straight set down by Greinke. And Miley will hit with 2 outs and the bases empty on Elvis night at Chase Field. There is Wade Miley with the Elvis look. CC Ryder. That was wasn't it? Joe Namath was in that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
With Ann Margaret.
Yes, indeed.
Broadway Joe.
Oh, and by the way, the sidekick Droop Along actually was in the Ricochet Rabbit cartoon. Bing, bing, bing.
Ricochet Rabbit.
Yeah, that was Droop Along. Was the sidekick there.
And quite a night here on Elvis Night. Pitch number 70 from Zach Greinke. Fouled away, 1-2. Dodgers in here beginning a 9-game road trip. From here they will go across the country. Citi Field in New York, 3 against the Mets. Then they take a train to Philadelphia, 3 against the Phillies. They were in Minnesota not too long ago, and it was about 30 degrees. That was fun, I bet. 2-2. Greinke runs it full on the pitcher.
Caught a little bit of the Cubs-Milwaukee game from Wrigley Field today, and the players could see their breath. It was a little chilly at Wrigley this afternoon.
It's May 16th. Ooh. On a 3-hop to Gordon. 8 straight set down by Greinke through 5. D-backs trail it 3-0. Dodgers 3-0. And fans, you can be here for Beach Night, Friday, June 6th. Think 1960s beach. Hard as we celebrate the sun and the surf After the game, enjoy the Friday night fireworks set to classic surf guitar tunes. The Ventures, I bet. That'd be good. Green Onions. Purchase a special beach night ticket package and receive a D-backs bucket hat. Limited quantities available. dbacks.com/events. Beach night at Chase Field.
I'm a big fan of those bucket caps. Those are great fishing hats.
Keep the bugs off your head in the sun. Scott Van Slyke doubled and scored his last time up. Leads off the 6th against Wade Miley. And he skies one deep to center. It'll back Pollock up at the wall, looking up, and that ball is off the wall. Nope, it's gone, a home run. Scott Van Slyke has done it again. He's now got 13 career home runs. 4 of them have come off Wade Miley.
Boy, that's where the big guys hit him. Once again, middle of the plate fastball, middle of the thighs. Van Slyke with those long arms, get full extension. Hit that about halfway up the batter's eye in center field.
That script has not changed. Scott Van Slyke beating up Wade Miley.
You've got an aggressive swinger who attacks that strike zone, and you've got a pitcher on the mound that likes to throw strikes. Unfortunately, that's been a bad combination for Wade Miley.
I got Van Slyke 9 at bats versus Miley this season. 3 doubles and 3 homers.
Well, it's not Wade Miley's way to pitch around guys. I don't recall a situation this year so far where Wade pitched around a hitter. Didn't care if he walked him, if the guy wanted to get himself out okay. Wade always attacks the strike zone.
I mean, this is getting into some serious ownage.
Ooh.
Uribe strikes out, and that's the first out here in the 6th. Well, that's the 10th home run given up this year by Wade Miley, the 2nd tonight. Puig in the 3rd, now Van Slyke in the 6th, and Randall Delgado still throwing in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Well, Van Slyke has 4 homers this year. All 4 homers have come against left-hand pitching. As A.J. Ellis steps in, he has walked and singled. His last time up an RBI single, he scored a run. Came in on the Zach Greinke RBI double. 1-1. Scott Van Slyke, 6'5", 250. He's a big dude. And he just took Wade Miley out of here deep to straightaway center.
You know, with Ellis out of the lineup with the knee surgery, did a nice job. The backup guys, Drew Butera. The team was 11-4 when Butera started behind the plate in the absence of A.J. Ellis. Now, certainly a lot of that credit has to go to the Dodgers pitching staff, but nice job by young Drew Butera holding down the fort until A.J. Ellis could get back from knee surgery.
Yeah, they had Tim Fedorovich in there for a while. He didn't hit. They tried Miguel Olivo, and Butera worked out well. Olivo and Fedorovich now both in Albuquerque. A.J. Ellis hits this to left. Ender Inciarte has it. 2 down.
Pitcher, Zach Greinke.
Zach Greinke, an RBI double his last time up. Hit one out to the gap in right center field. And was able to score Ellis, the catcher, all the way from first. That made it 3-0. Van Slyke has made it 4-0 with his 4th home run of the year. And Greinke's got himself another base hit.
I mentioned Greinke won the National League Silver Slugger Award for pitchers last year, hitting .325. I mean, this year, you know, the numbers aren't great for Greinke. Coming into tonight was 2 for 12 at the plate. We know he handles the bat well, but the number that jumps out, he's only struck out 1 time this year. He's walked twice. How many times can you say a pitcher's walked more than he struck out at the plate?
Delgado still throwing. Miley now at 102 pitches, 62 for strikes. T. Gordon singled his last time up, 1 for 3. Hot smash right to Goldie, and that's the 3rd out. But the Dodgers add 1 on the Van Slyke homer. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Gerardo Parra leads it off for the D-backs. For the thrill of the game, baseball finally here. It's happening all around us. So go grab a Pepsi and some friends and get out and join us at a D-backs game and live it. It's time to live for now. Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Arizona Diamondbacks. We back the D-backs. Well, Diamondbacks so far have only 3 hits against Zach Greinke, who's doing what Zach Greinke does. He's leading 4-0. Singles by Parra, Prado, and Hill, and that's been it offensively. As the top of the order leads it off in the 6th against the Dodger right-hander.
Well, we showed you all 3 of those base hits. 2 came on hanging curveballs, 1 on a fastball belt high over the middle of the plate. Really a couple of other mistakes that Greinke has made in this ball game. Just hasn't allowed the Diamondbacks to get any kind of continuity going with their offense.
On Elvis night at Chase Field, Gerardo Parra leads off the 6th. Singled his last time up. Shoots this one down the line in left, but it slices foul. Well, the D-backs have won 8 of their last 13 games. They've won 3 of their last 4 series, but they just haven't been able to get their luck turned around against these Dodgers. 1-7 to start the year versus LA. The Diamondbacks' record this year against teams other than the Dodgers is only 5 games under 500. So if they could change their luck against these guys, that would go a long way toward getting back to 500 for the season.
Well, not to mention if at some point this summer they expect to get in any kind of contention, even with a hot streak, they're going to have to beat the Dodgers. That's all there is to it. That they're the best team in the division right now. Giants playing very well, but I mean, star-studded lineup, a team that expects to win. If they're missing any pieces at the trade deadline, I don't think there's any doubt that Ned Colletti will be given the green light to go out and get whatever it is they think they need to make that run at the end of the season.
Roll to first. Gonzalez takes it himself. 1 away. Well, there's another side to that coin as well. Because the Dodgers this year And there's Ned Colletti, the GM. They're only 2 games over 500 for the year, 22-20 coming in. So it's not like they're on one of those rolls they had last year when they went 42-8 over a 50-game span. The Dodgers this year, when they play teams other than the Diamondbacks, are 4 games under 500. So they have been feasting on Arizona this year. So if you throw out Diamondback games against the Dodgers and Dodger games against the Diamondbacks, these two teams have almost identical records. But the series has become so one-sided that's where that difference shows up in the standings. Martin Prado 1 for 2, a single in the first. First pitch swinging. See more of that from Martin here. And it's a harmless fly ball to right. Today's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Frost Brew, Coors Light. Paul Goldschmidt. He is not walking nearly as much as he has before. Big drop in the number of times he draws walks. Look at that. Less than half as often as he did last year. Now keep in mind, last year Paul Goldschmidt finished 3rd in the National League in bases on balls. He was 4th in on-base percentage. But this year the walk rate by far the lowest of his career. And his on-base percentage is about 40 points below what it was last season.
Certainly contrary to what you would expect with the resurgence of Miguel Montero in that 4 spot in the lineup. If you're a person that believes in protection in the lineup, you can't have much better protection than Miggy has provided this year. But there's just all the numbers for Goldie. The walks way down this year. And we've seen him strike out twice tonight, chasing fastballs elevated up in the zone or pitches down and away. Those pitches he used to lay off all last year. Tremendous discipline. Time and time again he would lay off that pitch down and away. Not this year. And right now Goldie is 3 for his last 25. Three balls and a strike. And just as a point of comparison, the National League average walk rate is just under 8%, 7.8% of the at-bats. And right now is where you really see the big drop in the number of times he draws walks. Noticeable when he goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Last year when the count was full, look at this. Goldie hit 329 in 3 and 2 counts last year. This year it's 192. And look at the difference in the on-base percentage in full counts. It's an enormous drop-off. And he sees more full counts than almost any player in the league. This is not an isolated thing. He's up there 3 and 2 all the time. Lays off nicely there, and there's the ball. Base on balls. And a 2-out base runner for Miguel Montero. Second walk issued by Zach Greinke.
Miguel Montero.
You mentioned the National League average is just under 8%. The Diamondbacks are the lowest in the National League with just over 6% walk rate. As a matter of fact, that walk by A.J. Pollock back in the 2nd inning broke over a 100 at-bat streak without drawing a base on balls.
Montero 0 for 2. He has struck out twice, riding a 5-game hitting streak. Miggy's hit in 5 straight and 8 of his last 9. Bouncer to shallow right. That's where Gordon is, and that's the outs. They strand the 2-out walk. We are through 6. Diamondbacks trail the Dodgers 4-0. On your helpful Valley Honda dealers. Beautiful night in the Valley. Roof and panels open at Chase Field, where the D-backs trail the Dodgers 4-0, set for the 7th inning. And there's a new pitcher on the mound for the Diamondbacks. It's the right-hander Randall Delgado. His 14th appearance of the year, an ERA just under 6.5.
Number 48, Randall Delgado.
So that closes the book on Wade Miley. He went 6 innings, gave up 4 runs, 7 hits, including 2 homers. Inside the Audi Club at Chase Field, great place to belly up to the bar and watch the game.
Right fielder, Yasiel Puig.
This appears to be one of those outings for Randall Delgado where how long he pitches will depend on the offense in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Aaron Hill, the scheduled leadoff hitter, followed by A.J. Pollock, Chris Owings, Ender Inciarte, and then the pitcher spot. Ideally, Diamondbacks get down to that pitcher spot in the 7th inning. That'll mean they have something cooking offensively. Otherwise, we'll probably see Delgado for multiple innings here tonight.
Yasiel Puig leads off the 7th. First pitch swinging, and he dunks it into left for a base hit. He's 2 for 4. Second time of the ball game. Puig has swung at the first pitch.
Shortstop, Hanley Ramirez.
These are the kind of things you pay attention to when you're tomorrow's scheduled starting pitcher or the finale of the series. Who's up there aggressively swinging at first pitches? Who's taking first pitches? Who's aggressively swinging 2-0, 3-1?
Well, here's Hanley now 0 for 2. He walked in the first. He's down under 250 for the year now. And Hanley Ramirez, over his last month, has not hit the ball very well. He was hit on the left hand by a 90-mile-an-hour fastball from the Giants' Ryan Vogelsong. That was April 16th. And you see his numbers since. X-rays were negative. Ramirez admitted after the game the fastball got him good, but he insists he's fine. Don Mattingly says he looks fine, but he just has not produced at a Hanley Ramirez pace since he was hit in the hand by that fastball. This was what it looked like April 16th.
Well, fans have heard me say a million times, hand and wrist injuries always take longer to come back from than you anticipate, even if they don't place you on the disabled list. You get some pain and swelling in the back of that left hand. In the case of Hanley Ramirez, it just doesn't bounce back as quickly as you think it will. Such an important part of every hitter's swing, the ability to use your hands, wrists, your forearms.
Oh, it looks pretty good there. Drives it to right center. And one hops the wall, stays in the yard, and now Puig will come in and score all the way from first. And Ramirez has got himself an RBI double. It's 5-0 LA. Boy, Puig was coming around third like a freight train.
I was just about to say that. Fastball down and out over the plate. Ramirez stays right on it into the gap in right center. And Yasiel Puig got a really good read on that ball. Normally don't recommend looking back over your shoulder into right center field as you're running between second and third, but it didn't appear to slow Puig down at all.
A single and a double against Delgado. Now here's Adrian Gonzalez 0 for 2 with a walk. He chops at the first pitch at 1-1. He's under 260 now for the year. He's really had a tough month. The stat that really jumps out at you about Adrian Gonzalez in this D-back Dodger rivalry. Gonzalez, going into tonight, had played exactly 60 games in this ballpark. 59 RBIs. Almost 1 RBI per game played here at Chase Field over the course of his career. 2-1.
Well, the funny thing is, it seems like more.
You're right. I'm sorry to say.
There's teammates on base in front of him. You're always facing him with runners on base, runners in scoring position, and more often than not, he's come through in his career.
He's ahead here, 2 balls and a strike with Hanley Ramirez at second.
In these situations with a runner in scoring position against the D-backs, the last 2 years, Adrian Gonzalez 12 for 29. That's a .412 batting average with 3 homers and 21 driven in.
Gonzalez at least 100 RBIs in 6 of the last 7 seasons. Miguel Cabrera, Prince Fielder, the only other major league players to have done that. 2-2 misses. It's full.
Randall Delgado with a little extra peek in there to Jeff Kellogg that time. Our Fox track shows that ball clearly off the inside corner, but he did hit his spot. Sometimes pitchers think they should get a strike just because they hit their spot.
So you're setting up a little too far inside, hoping to kind of tie him up in there and get him to chase, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Gonzalez has done so much damage when you allow him to extend his arms on those pitches on the outer third of the plate. I think Delgado's just trying to put him in that rocking chair. Pitch away, pitch in. Pitch away, pitch in. Lean out over the plate and then back off the plate.
I think he sees Hanley standing down there at second, staring in on the signs. The view from high above. They'll do it one more time on 3 balls and 2 strikes. And Gonzalez still insisting this season that he is not a power hitter. That right shoulder surgery in 2010 that prevented him from being a home run hitter. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming up. And now he's starting to hit with a little more power. He's got 9 on the year.
I think he was perhaps speaking before his shoulder was fully healed and back at 100% when he said he wasn't going to be a power hitter anymore.
That one gets by Montero and goes to the backstop, and Ramirez goes to third on the walk to Gonzalez. So the first 3 have reached against Delgado in the 7th.
Center fielder Matt Kemp.
As he gets more and more removed from that shoulder operation, the power has come back for Gonzalez, and he has said one difference this year, he's able to have that good finish to the swing, which he thinks has helped. Back with you tomorrow. Diamondback Live pregame show at 4:30. And this should be a fun pitching matchup. Clayton Kershaw versus Chase Anderson. A couple of high school Texas pitchers who almost squared off in a big playoff game when they were both in high school. Kershaw's team advanced. Anderson's team was 1 win away. He had about 15 strikeouts in that game, but they couldn't get the W, so he didn't get to meet Kershaw head to head. Really wanted to, and now finally gets his chance here in the big leagues. Delgado spikes that one in front of Montero. First pitch to Matt Kemp is a ball.
Randall needs to make some kind of an adjustment out there. Not only spiking that breaking ball in the dirt right there, but ball 4 to Adrian Gonzalez was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that hit about a foot out in front of home plate.
Chase Anderson will make his 2nd big league start here tomorrow against Mr. Cy Young himself. The 1-0 to Kemp. On the ground is second. Aaron Hill to get the force on Gonzalez, and that's it. Hanley scores from third, and it's 6-0.
Real tough double play to turn the way Matt Kemp runs out of that right-handed batter's box. You got Aaron Hill moving several steps to his left. By the time he gets the ball to Chris Owings, Gonzalez is right on top of him out there at second base. No chance to complete the double play.
Scott Van Slyke has a double and a homer against Miley, but now he's in there against the righty Delgado. And Van Slyke, pardon me, this year, a 167 hitter against right-hand pitching.
Well, this is where that Dodger depth would really show itself. If we were in a closer ball game, there's a pretty good chance you would see a left-handed pinch hitter in this situation, either Sean Figgins or Carl Crawford, Andre Ethier. But with a 6-0 lead, Don Mattingly's just going to roll with Van Slyke here, righty on righty.
Both Crawford and Ethier, left-hand hitters, sitting out against the lefty Miley. So an opportunity for Van Slyke, and he's taken advantage, a double and a home run.
Just off the plate inside. I still believe that's where you want to attack Scott Van Slyke. You can see with that big front leg kick, he's got a hitch in his hands. Really wants that ball out over the plate where he can extend his arms. Has tremendous power to center and right as he takes a look at a called strike 3 this time.
Well, as we mentioned, let's take a look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers and Chase Anderson in his second major league start for the Diamondbacks after he was just absolutely dazzling against the White Sox in Chicago last weekend. That was fun to watch. Boy, he was terrific. Juan Uribe 0 for 3. Gets the strike call from Jeff Kellogg, and quickly Delgado's ahead 0-2.
We'll talk about an initiation by fire for Chase Anderson. His first start in the big leagues is against the Chicago White Sox, one of the highest scoring teams in all of baseball. Bunch of good hitters up and down that lineup, and next time out he gets the Dodgers.
Go get him, kid. Kicks away from Montero, and Kemp will advance. Another free base for a Dodger base runner. Wild pitch.
That'll be ruled a wild pitch because the ball was in the dirt. But once again, Miguel Montero just kind of reaching across, trying to backhand that ball. Climbs right up his chest protector and on into the on-deck circle. Tough to block fastballs in the dirt, though. I will always defend the catchers with that. You just don't anticipate it. This is the big leagues. You call for a fastball, you expect the guy to be able to throw it to home plate in the air. You spike one at 96 in the dirt, not many catchers are going to block it.
Uribe chases that one, strikes out for the second time. But the Dodgers get one more. They lead it 6-0.
All right, fans, it's time for the seventh inning stretch, presented by the Valley Honda.
all the above, because I mean he's one of the most dynamic pitchers in the game. We're both from Texas. I know him kind of, not really, just kind of summer ball and high school ball. We were in the same area, both 4A schools. But I'm just excited to go against him. You know, the Dodgers is definitely a rival in our division, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Spoke with Chase Anderson earlier this afternoon about his upcoming matchup with Clayton Kershaw. He says he's really excited, and goal number one is just to match what he did on Mother's Day against the White Sox. 5 1/3, the ERA 1.69. He threw 74 pitches, 49 for strikes. He says he and Miguel Montero could not be more on the same page if they tried, guys.
Thank you, Cindy. Joe Borowski with us. That's a key, Joe, right? You got to be on the same page, even if it's your first big league start.
If you want to be successful, you better be on the same page with your catcher. And that's very rare, especially for a pitcher making his debut. Normally, you know, it takes a little bit for him and the catcher to get in sync. But if you can lock in right away where you don't have to worry about shaking off constantly, you're just meshing well, it usually equals success.
Sure did against the White Sox.
Yeah, and for Miggy, you know, I mean, I'm sure he's caught Chase Anderson before in spring training or what have you, but you know, for the first time in game action, he got a real good look at what Chase Anderson likes to do. He's not afraid to throw that changeup in any count. Showed a good curveball at times and tremendous fastball command.
And Bob, that's the thing is Chase was able to show Miggy that he could throw those pitches for strikes. So it makes it a lot easier on Miggy putting those pitch suggestions down for him to go out and locate those pitches.
Well, and what about the idea, Joe, pitching against Clayton Kershaw? I mean, they're both from Texas. I'm sure a part of Chase Anderson, you know, kind of has Clayton Kershaw up on that pedestal, and rightfully so. But, I mean, he's not really pitching against Clayton Kershaw. He's pitching against the Dodgers lineup.
He's pitching against a very good Dodgers lineup. I don't think you want to get caught up in the whole situation of who you're going against on the mound. You know that you have to go out there and you have to shut down a very potent offense and let everything else take care of itself. If you start worrying about, oh, who's opposing me, are we going to score, how many runs we might score, then you're getting away from what you can control in that game. As a pitcher, it's tough enough to get guys out in this game if you're letting outside distractions into your mind.
2-2 to Aaron Hill, who leads off the 7th against Zach Greinke. D-backs have not had a base hit since Ronald Parra's one-out single in the 3rd. Well, you mentioned this Dodger lineup, Joe, and boy, Wade Miley, he's seen him now 4 times this year.
Yeah.
Coming into tonight, in his 3 previous starts, 0-2. The ERA versus LA was over 5, and that script didn't change here tonight. What'd you see?
The biggest thing that I saw was when he made mistakes, he made them out over the plate. And
Hill smashes that one down the line, and it's a foul ball.
And the Dodgers hitters made him pay for it. He wasn't as sharp as he normally is. He was up in the zone a lot tonight. And this is just me personally. I don't think he pitched inside enough tonight. It just seemed like the Dodgers hitters were way too comfortable in a box.
Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of that this year from this Dodgers offense. Very comfortable in the batter's box.
2-2. Called strike 3. 6 strikeouts for Greinke, 1 away in the 7th. How do you change? Have you ever seen something like this? Were you ever on a team where one other team just won all the time or got on a roll like this? If this score holds up, the Dodgers will have won 15 of the last 19 between these two.
Unfortunately, I was on a few teams where it seemed like that happened a lot. But a lot of times the matchup just doesn't favor your team. It just seems like the other team has the favorable matchup no matter who you're throwing out there on the mound. But the biggest thing is, I think, the execution of pitches by the starting pitchers. I think they have to go out there and, like Bob was just saying, when the Dodgers are so comfortable in the box, you have to start pitching inside. And that doesn't mean you're just throwing on their inner half. You have to pitch in, off the plate, make them move their feet a little bit.
Boy, AJ really waited on that breaking ball nicely. Sent it right back up the middle.
I mean, I mentioned earlier, Greinke's made very few mistakes in this game, but 3 of them have come on that curveball, just kind of rolling up there like that one day A.J. Pollock, stayed in the hitting zone long enough for the D-backs to get a good swing on it. That's the 3rd base hit on curveballs of the 4 that Greinke's given up tonight.
And the first hit for the D-backs since a one-out single in the 3rd. Here's Chris Owings, who's 0 for 2.
And unfortunately for the Diamondbacks, Greinke's errors have stayed in the park. Miley's errors have left the park, and that's the difference in this game right now.
Well, Bob, that's something you talk about all the time. Missing, but missing in the right spot.
Missing where you pitched a weak contact rather than the barrel of the bat.
Van Slyke a homer, Puig a homer. Third base, Uribe, Gordon. They turn the double play. Joe, we'll see you on Diamondbacks Live after the ball game.
Looking forward to it, guys.
Your helpful Valley Honda dealers in their blue shirts. It's their job to be helpful. Hey fans, follow every D-backs game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. You'll get live look-ins, instant replay, score, stats, audio, a free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. You can download it on the App Store or visit dbacks.com today. I had that. I was watching games on the phone out by the pool on our off day.
Nice.
Not a bad way to go. Randall Delgado back out there for his second inning of work as A.J. Ellis leads off the 8th for L.A. He has walked, singled, got an RBI. He scored a run just off knee surgery. I trust your off days went swimmingly.
Oh.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did, and you're right. Yeah, a little brisk. The pool is still just a little brisk, but felt good.
It is funny how it's still not quite there yet, is it?
We're so spoiled.
2-0.
Yeah, growing up back in the Midwest, the first spring day the sun was out and it was over 50, we went swimming.
And enjoyed it.
Oh, and loved it.
Like those now, it'd be like one of those polar bear guys that runs into the ocean. 3-1. You never did that in Chicago, did you? Did they do that in Chicago? Run into Lake Michigan?
Sure. In June.
Leadoff walk. Well, it's that time of the ball game. I know what you were doing on your off days. You were looking at AT&T fan photos, and the winner using the hashtag AZFanPhoto is Kelsey. Oh, I know why this one won. Old school colors.
Got the letter jacket, got the purple vault working.
Just tweet us your photo using the hashtag AZFanPhoto for your chance to have your picture shown on an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Second walk of the ball game issued by Delgado, and Greinke will hit in the 8th. He doesn't look happy. She looks happy. Her hat is very shiny.
Bedazzled.
Very sparkly, like a holiday. Excellent driver. Greinke's got a couple of hits tonight, an RBI double in the fourth. He singled his last time up. Squares the bunt, fouls it off, 1-2.
I'm not sure if this reflects what a good hitter Zack Greinke is, or just he hasn't had many sacrifice bunt situations. Only one sac bunt this year.
Look down for the sign from Lorenzo Bundy. He'll square with 2 strikes. Pulled back in time, 2-2.
For Wade Miley against Zack Greinke tonight. Miley had allowed just 1 hit to a pitcher all year coming into tonight. Greinke got 2 by himself against Wade Miley.
It's full 3-2. So Delgado walks Ellis to open the 8th, and now he's gone full on the pitcher. Swing away. That's the sign for swing away, right? Nope.
Well, a lot of different ways you could go here. You could continue to try to bunt with 2 strikes on Zack Greinke. You could turn him loose, let him swing away. I don't think they're going to start A.J. Ellis. Yes, they are. Well, once again, that speaks to the confidence Don Mattingly has in Greinke's ability to at least get the bat on the ball to protect a guy that's just off the disabled list from knee surgery. And this is all on the hitter. A.J. Ellis looking back all the way. That's just a straight hit and run situation. Putting it on Zack Greinke to make contact if the ball's in the strike zone.
Montero holds on. Foul tip, strikeout, 1 away. That's 3 strikeouts for Delgado. Brings up D. Gordon.
Second baseman, D. Gordon.
D. Gordon 1 for 4, a single in the 4th. They got Hanley Ramirez at shortstop. They brought in Alex Guerrero from Cuba, gave him $28 million. They were going to convert him into a second baseman, and D. Gordon was a man without a spot. So he worked out like crazy this winter, did everything they asked of him, and he's had a sensational year. One hopper Owings at short, got it all the way, and he throws it into the seats. He throws it into the second level of seats. He stepped on the bag to get Ellis, but then airmailed the throw.
Well, if you're going to make a throwing error, make it spectacular. Chris Owings just too far to go that time. Would have been much better served to flip that ball on to Aaron Hill, who was already at the bag. And in Chris's effort to put a little extra on that throw, he really whistled one into the seats that time.
Yasiel Puig. He has homered, singled, scored twice, driven in a run. Fielder's choice, E6, has Gordon at second with 2 outs. That one is a fair ball. It rolls into the corner. Gordon will score, and it's 7-0 LA, and Yasiel Puig is 3 for 5. He is on fire right now.
Shortstop, Hanley Ramirez.
A lot of first pitch hacking from Puig already in game 1 of this series. Something to keep in mind the remainder of this series. Sounded like Delgado may have broken Puig's bat, but he got enough of it to muscle down that left field line for an RBI double.
He has swung at the first pitch 3 times in 5 at bats. He's a triple shy of the cycle. Hanley Ramirez. Hanley an RBI double. He scored a run his last time up. He also walked back in the first against Wade Miley. 10 hits for the Dodgers, 4 for the Diamondbacks.
For Puig, 5 at-bats in the game. He's seen 11 pitches. 3 of those he swung at the first pitch, as you mentioned. His second at-bat, he had 5 pitches in that one and 3 in his third at-bat of the game. Just very aggressive once again. A couple different ways you can combat that. Throw something other than a fastball on first pitch, or throw a fastball in a location he can't hit it hard. I guess you could probably say that about that last Delgado pitch to Puig. Got in on his hands, broke his bat, but still got a base hit.
It's funny because he has been getting a lot of attention for being more selective up there, much more patient. But he has been hyper aggressive tonight. Came in 4th in the National League at OPS, and those numbers are going up. A ball and 2 strikes on Hanley Ramirez. 2 outs, Puig at second.
Well, watching Puig take his lead at second base, and I'll give it up to the guy. He's learned some lessons. He's learned some the very hard way. He's learned some from his teammates, from the coaching staff, from others around baseball. I think he gets bored. I think he wants to steal third base right here. Nobody close to him. Aaron Hill and Chris Owings are split wide apart. Last year, he would have tried to steal third with 2 outs in the inning and an RBI guy at the plate. This year, he's content to take his lead out there at second base and let Henry Ramirez take his at bat. But I think he's bored.
Well, Puig said this spring he was aware that his style of play and his behavior does bother some people, but he has no plans to change because he says the way he conducts himself out there is simply an expression of his personality. That's who he is, he says. And he's going to keep playing like this, even better than last year. Said if he doesn't do it, so other people get bothered about it, he does it because that's just his style. It's not intentional. He's not trying to get under your skin. But he thinks the fans deserve a show. He says the fans go to the stadium to enjoy themselves. After work, they spend their free time watching us play. We have to do our best to entertain them. 2-2 on Ramirez. It's full. Sanderson forward bullpen. The left-hander Oliver Perez is ready. 3-2 pitch. Montero hangs on to the foul tip. Second strikeout in the inning. And they strand Puig, but the Dodgers lead it 7-0. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Cox Communications. Bundle and save with Cox. Chase Field, Dodgers lead the Diamondbacks 7-0. D-backs have been out hit 10-4. And Zach Greinke back out there for the 8th inning. They'll work to Ender Inciarte, the pitcher's spot, and Gerardo Parra. Right now, Alfredo Marte is in the on-deck circle. He would hit for the pitcher. Inciarte, skies wonder. Second base, Gordon. All right. Our APS Energy All-Star, hard to argue. 100 pitches, 64 for strikes. Zach Greinke.
Pinch hitting for Randall Delgado.
What else to say about Zach Greinke? The same thing we say every time we face this guy. He's one of the best in the game, especially when he's locating that fastball. He did make a few mistakes with curveballs tonight, and the Diamondbacks put good swings on him and hit him hard for base hits, but just haven't been able to string anything together against the Dodger right-hander.
Alfredo Marte at .333. 4 for 12 on the season. He's got 3 RBIs. Marte had a pinch hit double in Monday's series opener against the Nationals. His first pinch hit appearance this year. And now make it 2. It's 1-1. Hit one out to the Ram truck. He's still swinging like that. Patrick Corbin. Gone through a couple of bags of seeds. Look at all the seeds. At the end of a game, the Major League dugout area, it's not pretty over there.
Disaster area.
Marte waits on that one and shoots it into the gap in left center.
Tell you what, I'm not a pitching coach, nor do I claim to be one, but I guarantee you when Zach Greinke sits down with Rick Honeycutt, the Dodgers pitching coach, they're going to say, what in the world was going on with your curveball? There's another one that just rolls up there in the middle of the plate. Marte keeps his hands back, lines it into the gap softly in left center field.
They're all up, the curveballs.
Everything up. I mean, he's buried some really good ones to get swings and misses and get some weak contact, but 4 of the 5 hits that he's given up in this ball game have come on hanging curveballs in the middle of the plate.
Parra 1 for 3, a single in the 3rd. Gonzalez falls on that one. And they turn the double play. Nicely done by the Dodger infield. The Dodgers turn 2. They send us to the 9th. It's 7-0 LA. presented by Cox Communications and Fry's Food Stores, is ready to take you to a D-backs game. Just stop by this month's participating Fry's Food Store in Cottonwood or the Cox Solution Store in Mesa. And you can enter to win 2 seats on the Fan Express bus. You get round-trip transportation to the D-backs game either June the 8th or June 22nd. For more info, FoxSportsArizona.com. Subway in-game box score. Lots of offense for the Dodgers. Most of it coming in either the top or the bottom of the order.
They're able to bunch some at the top, bunch some at the bottom, including Zach Greinke with 2 hits, a double, a single, and RBI. You need to score runs, put hits together up and down that lineup. Can't expect 1 or 2 guys separated by several spots to do much damage by themselves.
And right in the middle, you had Scott Van Slyke, a double and a home run off Wade Miley. Oliver Perez on for the 19th time this year. He'll work the 9th. Gonzalez, Kemp, and Van Slyke, the scheduled hitters. Adrian Gonzalez 0 for 2. He has walked twice. One and one. Brian Wilson, the velocity's been down for him. They're a little concerned after his second Tommy John. Dodger bullpen has been a little overworked lately. They've had some rough outings. And Wilson is a little bit of a worry for them. One ball and 2 strikes on Adrian Gonzalez. There's the strikeout. One away in the 9th. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game came earlier today in Prescott. Diamondbacks reliever Brad Ziegler dedicated the 34th Diamonds backfield presented by APS earlier today up in Prescott, located at Pioneer Park. Since 2000, the Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation has built or refurbished 34 baseball fields, representing a community investment of more than $10 million. The D-backs are allowing children from across the state to play baseball and softball at quality facilities, and those Diamonds backfields are beautiful. And today in Prescott, they dedicated Brad Ziegler Field, and Brad was up there. They had a tremendous ceremony. Great job by the D-backs and by Brad. 34 Diamonds backfields across Arizona.
I see a couple of them every day on my way into or home from the ballpark. Randy Johnson Field, not far away from Chase Field. Same thing for Jay Bell Field. They're scattered all over the valley, all over the state for that matter.
Matt Kemp, 1-1. At Kemp with a little 6-game hit streak on the line. He's just starting to look like the Matt Kemp of old. A ball and 2 strikes. Like that. Left field. Inciarte. With that speed, he can really cover the gaps in the lines. Takes extra bases away from Kemp. 2 down.
No doubt Inciarte has great speed. We've seen the strong throwing arm, but the thing I'm most impressed with are the lines that he takes for some of these balls. That wasn't an easy one to read. Ump back line drive with some top spin off the bat of Matt Kemp, and Inciarte went right to the spot, able to make that play on his feet.
He is primarily a center fielder, but has played enough in both corner outfield spots to where he's comfortable out there. Ender Inciarte from Venezuela. His 7th start this year, just his 2nd in left. Look at the speed here.
No wasted motion, no S pattern, no banana pattern, just a straight line to where he thought the ball was going to come down. Got there quickly enough to make the play.
He had played 26 games in Reno, all in center. But he's got close to 100 games in both right and left throughout his minor league career. 2-0 to Scott Van Slyke. Chases that one 2-1. Now that was a tomahawk. I think he hurt himself.
Sprained his eyelid swinging at that one.
Boy, he's a big guy at 6'5". He's got that big front leg. I mean, all kinds of moving parts there.
Long arms, a long back, covers the plate. He stands a fair distance away from the inside corner of the plate, almost tempting pitchers to try to work him away, which plays right into his strength.
Chases again upstairs. It's 2-2. He's 6'5", 250. He's a handful. It's full. Juan Uribe would be next. Well, Van Slyke's a versatile guy. Can, you know, like tonight, playing left when Crawford or Ethier are sitting against a lefty. Can play either corner outfield spot. Can play little first base when Adrian Gonzalez needs a day here or there. Pops it up first base side. Goldie drifting toward foul ground. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. The D-backs trail it 7-0. Hey fans, Saturday, MLB on Fox Sports 1 is back. Reigning NL MVP Andrew McCutchen, and the Pirates take on Derek Jeter and the Yankees. The action starts at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. You'll get a chance to see Derek Jeter, number 2, on Fox Sports 1 in the 9th. And 0-0 is on. Martin Prado, Paul Goldschmidt, Miguel Montero, 2, 3, and 4 against Brian Wilson. A little worried about him. His ERA is over 10.
A lot of walks, 1 per inning. Although he struck out over 1 per inning, that walk total will come back to haunt you.
He was on the DL from the end of March through mid-April with the inflammation in his right elbow. Coming off a second Tommy John surgery, the velocity has been down. Martin Prado, 1 for 3, a single in the first. D-backs with just 5 hits. And Zach Greinke once again was outstanding. 8 scoreless. He walked 2. He struck out 6. Chase Anderson. He knows where to sit. And Bronson's great about that. He will talk to these kids all day long as they want.
Well, and anything they ask about, there's a real good chance that Bronson Arroyo has been through it at some point in his career.
Three 3-0. So much value there. Talk about what Bronson Arroyo means to the D-backs on the field. We've seen that his last 4 starts, but it's a great example of the other stuff, the intangibles. Leadoff walk to start the 9th for Prado. Well, you just said the walks were up, and there it is. Rally cap in place, down 7-0 in the 9th with Goldie up. He has struck out twice and walked. And if Goldie goes hitless tonight, that will be 5 times in 7 games without a hit for Paul Goldschmidt.
I don't know if we've ever seen a streak quite like that for Goldie, at least not in the last couple of years.
And I don't think we've seen him swing and miss this much either. Fouled that one off, and quickly it's 0-2. Prior to this, Goldie had gone hitless in back-to-back games only once all year. But he's up there right now, 3 for his last 25. Prado takes off with a pitch, and he'll scoot into second unopposed. No stolen base there. Defensive indifference. Here's the 1-2 to Goldie. Just like that. We've seen a lot of that lately.
Catcher Miguel Montero.
So Goldie strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. One away. Here's Miggy. Miggy was twice a strikeout victim against Zach Greinke. Miggy with a little 5-game hit streak on the line right here. Ball 1. The Elvis t-shirt, the Elvis sunglasses with sideburns. All part of Elvis night here at Chase Field. Gerardo Parra bobblehead day tomorrow. And then Randy Johnson here on Sunday. What were your overall impressions of Elvis night? Seemed to have a really good Elvis turnout.
Yeah, nice feel about it. They had a little karaoke up on the big board between innings. People singing their favorite Elvis songs. That was a nice touch. Elvis music between innings. Love that t-shirt.
2-1. Blue Hawaii out in the RamTrucks.com pool area. We got to win this race. Some taking the 7-0 score a little harder than others. 2-1. Sky to left side foul.
about this little tidbit about Elvis? Actually, more about Colonel Parker, his manager.
Sure, the Colonel.
Big-time promoter. Always had a feel for how to make a buck. He was actually accused of painting sparrows yellow and sold them as canaries before he was Elvis's guy. How about that?
Call PETA. 2-2. The Colonel. Rally sideburns in place. Nice work. Miggy, slow roller up the first base line. He's safe. Gonzalez took too long. Wilson was there at the bag. Gonzalez is insisting he got there in time. And Montero's aboard for the moment.
I mean, Gonzalez is close enough to take a couple of steps and make this an easy play at first, but his first instinct was to flip it on to Brian Wilson, who, to his credit, was over there in good shape.
Ron Mattingly coming out to talk to Quinn Wolcott. And they're going to have a look.
Well, good hustle by Miggy. Don't assume anything. I mean, that's a little ground ball within a couple feet of first base, and rather than just jog it out, he hustled down that line. It looked like on replay the Dodgers may have a legitimate argument here.
Now, if you're saying hold on, what happened to seventh inning or later? Well, the umpires will only look at plays in the seventh inning or later on their own if the team is out of challenges. If the manager still has a challenge in place, the same rules apply regardless of the inning. The umpires can only go to replay if it's after the start of the seventh inning and the manager has exhausted his challenges. So Mattingly up 7-0 in the ninth. Figures, what the heck? I got it. Might as well use it.
And this is one of those ones Don Mattingly perhaps on his own would have said, you know, we're going to lead the ball game. Let's just keep playing here. But to appease his players, and they actually get the call at first base. Miguel Montero called out on the challenge by the Dodgers.
His play has been overturned. The batter is out.
Challenge works. The call on the field is overturned. Clear and convincing evidence. 2 outs. Prado in at third now. Here's Aaron Hill. Aaron Hill 1 for 3, a single in the second. There's a strike, 0-1. Wow, that one really got Jeff Kellogg hard behind the plate.
Right into the mask. Boy, positioning is important for an umpire too. Make sure you're looking straight ahead. You don't have your neck at an angle or looking off to the side a little bit. That's when those foul balls off the grill will do some damage. You have your neck turned in a vulnerable position as that ball hits the mask, but Jeff Kellogg rather waved off any help from A.J. Ellis. Said, let's keep playing.
By the way, if you're counting on the whole challenge thing, I don't know you are. We've had now 280 manager challenges. 131 have been overturned, so that's almost 47%. So nearly half the time a manager challenges, the call is overturned. And replay has really worked out well. Called strike 3, and that's the ball game. The Dodgers take the series opener 7-0 as Wilson rings uphill. And Scott Van Slyke has a big day. Wade Miley's #1 nemesis, a double and a home run. And the Diamondbacks are held to 5 hits. They lose it 7-zip.
Well, you know it's going to be tough duty facing Zach Greinke, whether it's in Australia or Arizona or Los Angeles, and tonight was no exception. He was really good once again.
7-0 the final score. So the Dodgers have scored at least 6 runs in 9 of their last 13 games here at Chase Field. They have won all 9 of those games. They win this 7-zip. And LA has now won 15 of the last 19 meetings between these two, including 8 of the 9 games this year. It's 7-0 Dodgers to open the series. For more, let's go out to center field. Guys?
Steve, thank you very much. Our coverage continues with Diamondbacks Live coming up in a matter of moments. Todd Walsh alongside Joe Borowski. We'll get to Cindy Brunson down at field level and in the room a little bit later on. But, Joe, it is Elvis night. Steve just rattled off those numbers. It's a broken record, and that's disappointing coming off an off day and a